How's it going? Owen Straley, currently coaching our outside linebackers here at Springfield College. Played cornerback for 4 years at Bates College, and knew I wanted to get into coaching. Again, I think the biggest thing, coaches for all of us were, the biggest role models we had in life, and just the opportunity to potentially be that for somebody was, one of the biggest things that got me into it. That and not necessarily knowing what I was good at and knowing that I had a mind for football. So just gravitate, your work towards things that you enjoy. Just kind of basics right here. Each time that I get a new group together, right, I'm gonna have them create their own standards of what they want the room to look like. Again, I think the more autonomy that you can give your players in coaching, to me, is for the better, right? Creates buy-in. So again, we'll just give them pages on, what their different reactions are. So just baseline, right? They'll study them, maybe they won't, but we just go through. These are all the different ways that we will play those different blocks. So you show them the angle of departures page. Now you give them a more extensive, you know, idea of, okay, here's how you're going to play this. Here's how you're going to play this. And again, they need to know, right? And a lot of stuff's going to be played similar, but all right, base block, right? Vertical angle departure. Okay, well, I'm keying the tight end, right? We go over that. We're keying the tight end for everything. I know I'm then going to stick step, bully, press and pop, right? Stick step, bully, press and pop. Oh, ball hits in my D gap. I know I push pull. Ball hits in the C. I know I'm now going to arm over. So now again, reach block, boom. Now you'll see, like with some of them, it'll end up being the same. So right here, watching number 9. Playing on the tight end, number 22. At the snap, base block. He's going to press and pop his feet, get long into his primary. Again, the ball hits inside. We've done our job, right? He's effectively closed off that D gap. Boom. Ball's got to hit inside. So we've given a positive grade on that one. Stick step, right? Stick stepping into it, getting to extension, closing off my gap. Now, ultimately, right, if that ball were to have hit in his D gap, he knows he's push pulling. If that ball were to hit in the C, now I'm going to arm over. Now, here's an example of what not to do, right? So we talk about base mode, stunt mode, and jet mode. This is what I would call a jet mode takeoff. Number 11 is rolling off his front foot, and he's working to win, 2.5 yards past his key. Issue now, well, this is base rundown. What have we done? We don't effectively have an edge to the defense, and you've created a vertical seam in the running game. So to me, run defense 101, create edges on every single play, right? And I say, right, people talk about setting edges. No, create edges, right? You got to establish the edge. It doesn't exist just because it says you're the edge player, right? Create the edge and then, limit vertical seams in the run game. So that's a bad grade right there. Ultimately, right, we got guys there to fix it, but you are not setting an edge here. Now, next off, back to the primary secondary piece of it. Boom, base block coming to me now. Again, get to extension, and I'd like to see him set this ultimately, right? I'd like to see him set this and go 2-to-1 on this before folding back inside, but gap and a half philosophy, boom, he's getting back inside. And then naturally, right, we talk about edges, 98 here, he's winning vertical. He's winning vertical, so he effectively is setting edge as well. Fold back inside, make a play. Now here, right, arc blocks and down blocks would both be disappear reactions. We're just playing them differently. So down block, again, I'm getting into my lane progression, surfing to replace those heels. Arc block, because ultimately as a 9 tech in, our base quarters coverage, we have to take that tight end to the flat and own that in man coverage. Well, now I'm going to fit my coverage. So an arc block should really look no different than him running out to the flat. So I got to now match that using reach, gather, footwork, and we're going to play it essentially the same as a reach block. So now here, again, I always think it's important to see an example of what not to do. Here, My eyes are in the backfield. My eyes aren't on my key. I go inside. Now you make the read easy for the quarterback. And again, just the way you're going to fit things in general. If I'm ever, a D gap player here, if I'm a D gap player, I'm playing on the outside piece of that tight end versus an arc release. I'm also the pitch player. Whereas if I was a C gap player, I'm now going to play the quarterback piece of that. Never do somebody else's job, right? Again, an example of what not to do as a surf player here. Number 11 into the boundary. Just looking at his posture immediately, right? He's in a little too deep. He didn't necessarily replace the heels. Now he's not square either, right? He can't push off his insteps in either direction. So now quarterback's going to pull it, right? All it takes is one play you showing that too early, right? Now guys up in the booth, they're saying, "Hey, I think we got him, coach. Let's get him to pull it here." So I always talk about, staying square above all else on that. Again, here's an example of what a bend and chase would look like. Once again, 11's wrong here because he's got a tight end. He's got to take that to the flat, but, don't overcoach guys. Ultimately, it makes the play. So that's better, right? Stay square. Now I'm going to bend and chase, get flat down the line of scrimmage. And again, finish with violence, right? Finish with violence. I shouldn't have to overcoach violence. Now, right, swipe blocks, or if it's down, right, there's probably a puller coming back to me. So now here, watching 11 again, playing a 9-tech, tight end on him into the boundary. Better job. Boom, I'm surfing. I'm replacing the heels. Now I'm going to hard joint this, right? Hard joint it. There's a lane 1 puller coming with space. We are not going to, be wrong physics-wise and tell you to, hey, you got to go 2-to-1 on that, right? That's a moving target that's outweighing you. Get low, throw your forearm through the upfield thigh board, and, right, more than anything, don't overcoach it. Just be violent. Now, ultimately, right, not a bad job, but right here, when he hops back outside, A, you're losing momentum. B, we want you to set it right there, right? You should be setting the edge now. And ultimately, because you jumped back out, what do we create? A seam for that quarterback to hit through, right? That should ultimately be closed off if you've done your job well. But if nothing else, like the violence and like that there is at least somewhat of an edge. Watching 11 again here. This time, boom, disappear. My eyes got to snap to lane 1 immediately. And again, I talk about slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? If he's a little bit slower here, he's now able to gather himself and, in a better position to take that on. Ultimately, would like to see, right, press and pop footwork, getting to extension. But if nothing else, we do close off our gap and the ball's forced to hit inside. So again, doesn't always have to be pretty, right? I understand, guys on the move, this kid's about 215 pounds. A kid that's pulling on him is about, maybe 270. So we got to be cognizant of that. But more than anything, right, be physical, be in the right place. Be physical, be in the right place. So now here, I'm playing a 9-tech. Now here's the issue, right? Same exact play. Same exact play. Where are his eyes? In the backfield, right? If my eyes are not on my key, right, and we talk about my primary key and then getting into lane progression, my eyes should immediately snap to lane 1. I should be in position to set this. Again, he's working lateral, right? So now I'm catching this block. My hands aren't ready to go. Now he drives me out of there. And is there a multitude of things wrong with this play? Yes, right? He's not the only reason we fit this improperly, but ultimately is a big reason that this goes to the house. So again, I think this big thing, we used to teach our guys to read the triangle, right? I'm keying the tight end through the running back quarterback mesh. Well, where that becomes an issue is now where do my pads have to be to see that mesh point? I got to be playing high, trying to see over that tight end. So everything we talk about now, I'm keying the tight end, and until I'm able to get into my bully progression and get to extension, I can't look at my secondary key. So that's our big kind of coaching point on that. And now again, just going through the 6-tech, same deal. Now we're just head up. I no longer have to match that tight end to the flat. So now I'm going to play the C gap because who's going to play the D gap? the guy that has to cover the tight end, right? Fit my coverage. Naturally, if I got to match him to the flat and be outside of him, well, that's where I'm going to fit it anyway. So now in this case, we're now just working that basic reach, gather footwork, right? I'm mirroring the first step now versus horizontal release, right? That's where the main difference is going to be. I'm now mirror stepping, whereas, versus a base block, you're not going to mirror step because he's coming right at you. So now either way, whether it's attack, react, or this, I'm going to step vertical and now, right, be physical with it. But, we didn't play a ton of it last year. It's kind of something we're more going to. So here he's playing from a 9-tech, but this is just an idea of what it would look like, right? Now, instead of engaging on the outside piece, I'm getting long into the C gap, right? Getting long into the C gap, forcing the ball to commit outside. Now, gap and a half, I can get back outside and help out on that. So you're really just kind of playing the inverse of what your responsibilities were as a 9-tech.